Hi there, I'm Laurence Tham from LaurenceTham.com. We are working with my clients right now to help them really pivot around this COVID-19, and we have this thing called Ride the Curve. And last week I actually created this video to show you some of the strategies we're working on. I want to dive into the very first element though here, because the thing is, before you might have a strategy, you might have a plan, or you might not have a plan, which is obviously a problem. But the thing is that no matter what, whether you start or just about to start on a plan, you may have the plan itself, but if your mindset is still in fear, panic, or anxiety or anger, it's really not a best place to be in, because what we need to do is learn to shift our mindset, because from a place of fear and grief and anxiety, you're not going to be able to really translate well in terms of being creative, in terms of your way of thinking and creating content and also just being supportive of your clients. So what I really challenge you here is that in this video, I want to share with you somehow the mindset of a pivot. The pivot needs to be done quickly and swiftly, but what you need to do is you actually have to embrace the importance of the shift. In order for the shift to occur, or this pivot to occur, you have to embrace this mindset. So what I want to demonstrate you 3 key specific strategies on how you're going to be able to do this. So let's go kind of dive into it. Last week we talked about there's this important mindset shift that we need to have, and basically the mindset shift that we need to have, we need to move away from fear, right? Because we create that is because we are in consumption mode. We're consumer. We're like basically a consumer, which is constantly consuming the news around us and also what everybody else is talking. And this noise creates us to be in a position of fear. What we have to shift away from is that we got to move away from this fear, and that fear does not help us at all, because in fear we're now panicking. We're actually being reactive, and being reactive is not the best thing for you to do. What I encourage you to do is you want to move from fear towards faith. I'm not talking about God faith here, it's just about faith in yourself and also in your ability to be able to create, because when you're consuming, you're going to stay stuck in fear. But when you're shifting from fear towards faith, you actually become a creator, because I believe, as a chiropractor, you can create lots of create ideas, content that can support your clients, and this is where we want to kind of shift from. So here's the thing how do you shift from fear and towards faith? This is the 3 key strategies that I believe that will help you through this. The first thing I think what we need to kind of consider and how we actually got to do this is that we need to look at our identity. And identity is really important, because the identity of who you are and what you believe in within yourself is going to change and dictate how you're going to behave. You see, because we can tell you all the tactical things, all the strategies to do to shift you away from this. We can give you all the process and all the things you need to do. But if you don't shift your identity around this crisis, or the identity around this thing, that what's happening in this world, you're not going to be able to serve or be able to follow through those tactics. That's why certain tactics work for a percentage of the people, and while certain tactics just have no place in terms of service for some others. And what I want you to consider is that we need to learn to shift the identity within yourself and who you identify yourself as. And once you be able to figure that out, then that's going to be a way better position for you to action some of these tacticals and strategies that we have planned, and that you have planned, or I have planned for my clients. So I always talk about changing the identity within yourself, because that core identity is what helps you remove the anchors that hold you back in the first place. And then times like these is the perfect opportunity for you to make some decisions on who you want to be in the future, rather than being held back by the previous version of yourself. And it's happening in real time. And you have a choice to either continue to be the same person as you are, or you pivot and become a better version of yourself now, and that's the identity shift. And that helps you move away from this moment of becoming a victim, and moves you towards being a victor. And that is a huge element to help you kind of shift that. The second thing I think we need to kind of consider here is that we also need to, let's choose a different color here, we need to also have hope. And what I mean by hope is that what happens in hope is that we need to know, right? We need to understand that we will get through this. And this period of time is a short period of time, and we will all get through this. We're all in this together. Now, we all been hearing that a lot, but you actually have to believe that though, right? And so one of the key elements here is that I think it's really important for you to understand is that there's something called the I've lost my mind. The Stockdale Paradox. That's what it's called. The Stockdale Paradox. And it's about a POW who's the highest ranking POW in the Vietnam War that was captured. And he was captured for about 7 years. And in that period of time, there's people who survived that, like himself, and there's people who didn't. And when he first came out, the people that asked him, it goes, how did you survive? Or who survived during this period of time? And he said, that's easy, right? And he goes, who didn't survive? He goes, well, that's an easier answer because the who didn't survive are the optimists, right? So this is kind of counterintuitive to what I'm just about to tell you, but this is why it's called a paradox. Because what he said though is that those POW, all right, the Stockdale Paradox, and I'll just kind of write that down because I think it's important, right? The Stockdale Paradox says this, is that the optimists didn't survive the POW camp because when they were in a POW camp, they said to everybody, don't worry guys, we'll get out by Easter. Kind of sounds familiar, right? We'll get out by Easter. And when Easter came around, right, and didn't happen, it goes, don't worry guys, we'll get through it in summer. And when summer came around, they go, no guys, don't worry, Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving came around, it goes, no, Christmas. And that came around, and then it's another year. And that's when people start to lose hope. Now, hope is important. Hope is actually, it matters a lot because in this case, hope changes people from despair, right? And it moves them to be more decisive. Because when you do have hope, you can be decisive in your actions on what you're going to do. But according to the Stockdale Paradox here is that you need to do one more thing. You can't just have hope and pure hope only, because pure hope and pure belief and knowing that you're going to come out of this isn't enough. That in fact may actually kill you, according to the Stockdale Paradox. And what happens is we need to have one more thing. And the one more thing that you need to consider, right, in this whole element is that you need to make sure you have to face reality. And James Stockdale talks about this in the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. The Stockdale Paradox is this, is that you have to have hope, but you also have to face the harsh reality that you're actually in. Because hope is all about knowing that you come out alive, but you also need to know the situation you're in. And right now, chiropractors, right, in business and all across the world, you are in a position where there is maybe no to little income over the next period of time for who knows how long. And you need to be able to bunker down that if you don't cut expenses and costs and wages and all that stuff, if you don't do the necessary work and be decisive, you may not have a business to come back to. And relying on the government and relying on external circumstances to help you through this process and waiting and hoping to pray, it's not going to be good enough. What you need to do is cut deep and wide. However, you also need to know that you need to invest into what you can do. And this is some of the strategy we're trying to talk about. You can't just rely on one thing. You need to rely on a whole bunch of things. So facing the harsh reality is super important here, because what that does, it takes you out of crisis and moves you towards control. Because if you know the harsh reality of what the position that we're in, you are in total control, but at the same time being decisive about what you're doing. And that is how we need to kind of consider our mindset regards to navigating the situation. When you are clear, right, of your identity and who you are and who you want to be, you have hope that this is going to be, you're going to come out of this, no problem. And you're going to come out of this, right, in the sense of you're going to survive through it. It's going to end at some point. But knowing, though, at the same time, that the harsh reality that we're in, it sucks, right? No one likes it, but you're in it. Whether you like it or not, you are in this. The woulda, coulda, shoulda things that you should have done doesn't matter thinking about it, because it's not going to help you. Right now, what you got to think about is, what do I do to move forward? So this is the mindset I think you need to consider when you think about shifting to any tactical thing or strategy that you have planned out for. If without this mindset and shifting those three elements, the identity, the hope, and the reality, that's not going to help you action those strategies, because I guarantee you what's going to happen. The obstacle that's going to come back at you is that the strategy won't work, because you're trying to make emotional decisions. What you want to do is move to a higher brain level, not from the lizard brain, but from the logical brain of why I'm doing this. So this mindset shift is huge during a pivot. And this is what exactly everybody needs to understand, is that from a chiropractic model, is that you need to really figure yourself out, who you want to come out of this, then also figure out the hope that you need to have, but also the face reality, because that will help you, guide you through the next little phase. It's going to help you through how many months we're going to be stuck in this situation, but it causes you to be control of the actions you take. because the people who take action in this period of time will ultimately separate the rest from the pack. And if that's you, then you know what you need to do. I'm asking, as a profession, we need to take massive action during this period of time. It's not a rest period. It is a period for you to separate and create a massive market shift and separator if you actually take the time to do it. So I hope this has been helpful for you. This is the stuff that we talk about in the Chiro Think Tank, which is a free Facebook group. If you want to join that, go to facebook.com/groups/Chiro Think Tank. Put that on our Chiro Think Tank by Laurence Tham, because that's me. There's 2 other groups there, so therefore the link is below in the description somewhere. If this has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, and let me and share this with other people, because I think right now we need as many help as possible to help us guide you through this navigation through this stuff. But it's not always about tactical things and strategies. I want you to really focus on the mindset. I'll get to some strategies a little bit later, but more importantly, let's get this mindset right so you can actually move accordingly. All right, talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, that subscribe button, you should press it. And because I want to share videos with you just like this one to help you grow your practice.